Hello, my name is Amirul. Okay, for my part, I will talk about introduction. Buying or producing asset with the intention of capital efficient, dividend, interest, earning, rent or mixture of these return is referred to as investment in finance. It also described as the acquisition of an asset or thing with the hope of generating income or appreciating in value so that it may be sold at the greater price in the future. Speculation has been used to describe higher purchase risk record of the 20th century. Stocks are the type of equity investment. The goal is to generate money by investing in business that will success. The corporation that issue the stock may pay its shareholder a dividend or a part of its earning on a regular basis. Last but not least, for introduction is it can reinvest the dividend to grow out portfolio or utilities it as a source of income.
Hi, my name is Malini Ravi, metric number 264585. Next, I'm going to present the economic analysis. There are 5 major economic analyses in Malaysia. They are monetary policy, GDP, inflation rate, unemployment rate, and fiscal policy. But today, I will only present the 3 main economic analyses. First of all, monetary policy. Monetary policy refers to the actions undertaken by a nation's central bank to control the money supply and achieve sustainable economic growth. There is some macroeconomic policy of Malaysia, which are the low unemployment rate, sustained economic growth, low inflation rate, and balance of payment. Secondly, GDP, also known as gross domestic product. It is a measurement that seeks to capture a country's economic output. The growth of real national income is used to measure the continuing economic growth rate achieved by a country. Thirdly, the inflation rate. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level in an economy. In 2019, the average inflation rate in Malaysia amounted to about 0.6% compared to the previous year. Next, according to the graph shown, the first graph explains about the monetary policy. The graph shows 3% of the overnight policy rate by the Bank Negara Malaysia. However, on 3rd March 2020, BIN reduced the overnight policy rate by 25 basic points from 2.75 to 2.50%. The second graph shows the projected GDP of Malaysia in 2020. From there, the COVID-19 health crisis is expected to weigh significantly for the year 2020. The economics expertise has anticipated that the GDP of Malaysia in the year 2020 will drop to negative 2.0. The third graph shown was the inflation rate. It shows if without the direct downward impact from lower global oil prices, underlying inflation as measured by core inflation is projected to remain positive, ranging between 0.8 to 1.3% in chart 2.6. If the inflation rate decreases, it can increase the consumer's purchasing power. The last table shown was the unemployment rate. We can see that the unemployment rate has surged from 3.9% in March to 5% in April 2020. This is because it's due to the closure of businesses during the Movement Control Order, which is MCO of COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, the other economic factors, which are COVID-19 and trade war between US and China. The COVID-19 pandemic, also known as the coronavirus pandemic, is an ongoing global pandemic of coronavirus disease in 2019, caused by acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. Due to the COVID-19, all the local and international businesses has temporarily stopped, as resulted in it affected Malaysia financially, especially the stock market. Meanwhile, the stock market was crushed when the Malaysia government announced the Movement Control Order, which is MCO, on 18 March 2020. Most of the investors sold all of their stocks when they heard the news of MCO. Last but not least, the trade war between US and China. The US-China trade war started on 6 July 2018, when the US imposed a 25% tariff on US $34 billion of Chinese imports, the first in a series of tariffs imposed during 2018 and 2019. President Trump launched the trade war to pressure Beijing to implement significant changes to accept of its economic system that facilitates unfair Chinese trade practices, including forced technology transfers, limited market access, intellectual property theft, and subsidies to state-owned enterprises. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and have a nice day to everyone. My name is Nazurin Auni binti Muhammad Zulkifli and my metric number is 273043. For next of our group presentation, I will explain my part, which is 3.0 industry analysis. First of all, the explanation of this industry analysis is mainly done for 5 companies of our choice, which is the first one is AME Elite Consortium Berhad, Second is Hong Leong Financial Group, Carlsberg Brewery Malaysia, Nestle Malaysia Berhad, and the last one is Petronas Dagangan Berhad. To make it more clear, the comparison of views in terms of industry analysis between these five of companies is divided into three parts as shown in this table at this slide, which is in terms of growth cycle, financial review, and the last one is SWOT analysis.
Now let us go through one by one for each part. Okay, in terms of growth cycle, clearly that AME Elite Consortium Berhad is a construction company based in Malaysia, and in general they have experience in operating for this sector. This has reached up to over 25 years, and with their experience showing that they have a high level of ability where they are not only focused on their main business or activity but also have successfully engaged in other business. As example here, industry, real estate construction, engineering service, and also real estate investment and management service. Now, we go to the next companies in terms of growth cycle. Hong Leong Financial Group is also one of Malaysia-based company but in different sectors, which is in terms of banking and financial service holding company. And the second point shows here that the mission of this company is to become digital at the core. What is meant here is one of the biggest missions to show the development of the company is to want to be a digital bank which wants to offer financial service that are more different from others. As example here, Hong Leong Financial Group nowadays takes the strategies by being the digital at the core, which is driven by customers at the forefront. Indirectly, it can help these banks in their effort to innovate offerings for their banks. The third company is Carlsberg Brewery. Okay, this business of the company is much a little different than the others, where this company is engaged in the production of beer, liquor, and soft drinks, as well as non-alcoholic beverage. The second point mentioned here is choose to grow more rapidly in two countries, which is Malaysia and Singapore. Clearly, the company is not only growing in these two countries, but in various other countries as well. This is because they choose to grow more rapidly in these two countries, which is Malaysia and Singapore, because they expect that the human population in the country is high. Therefore, their strategy to get higher profit is more widespread. The fourth company is Nestle Malaysia Berhad. Okay, we all like to be famous for this brand, which is Nestle, that is as the largest food and beverage producer in the world. Besides of that, this company is not only venture into food product manufacturers, but they also got involved or venture into new fields, which is in terms of replanting, plastic reduction, and also the collection and recycling. The last part of growth cycle for the last company is Petronas Dagangan Berhad. Okay, the name of this company also seems to be no stranger to hearing by us as an oil and gas producer where the company are based in Malaysia. What is more interesting, they are not only suppliers of oil and gas products but they are also grown well in aviation driver service and technical services. This company is arguably a very thriving company and still get high demand until today. The proof is they successfully own 216 oil and gas plantations of its own and having around 55 supply points worldwide. The next slide shows the financial review of these five companies. We start with AME. According to the analysis done to see the company's financial performance throughout 2016 until 2019, it shows a really good performance or can be classified as a stable performance. Although during those 4 years, there was the fluctuation value of their net income, but overall they were still able to control and operate well. As example, as we mentioned here, there is which 69% of their profits are derived from their main activity, which is construction, while the rest is derived from their other services or business as listed in the example in the slides before. As other evidence as well, as much at least 20% of that net income, they decided to distribute to shareholders. This strongly shows that they can control their cash flow well. However, it is subject to business performance. What is meant here, if the net income is greater on that year, so that the percentage will be distributed to the shareholders will be more high, and instead will happen if the business performance is not quite good for the year. The next is the financial review for Hong Leong Financial Group and Carlsberg Brewery Malaysia. In general, the analysis of the financial performance of these two companies is between 2020 until 2021. As we all know, these 2 years were the challenging years with the pandemic that hit us, which is COVID-19, where it is affected the situation of our country's economic sector. What is emphasized here is that these two companies are still showing good quality of financial performance and they are still able to grow well. Next is the financial review for Nestle Malaysia Berhad. Nestle showed good financial performance and high potential during the 4 years of analysis, starting from 2018 until 2021, and they even predicted that in the next 2 years, which is 2022 and 2023, they will still maintain the market with the estimated profit amount increase. And the last one is for Petronas Dagangan Berhad, which is the financial performance or position of the last company, Petronas Dagangan Berhad, which is already known as the largest company, is definitely performing well in their finance. Although it is possible on the net income analysis graph, they show a drop in value or percentage, but they are said to still be able to control all the problems and maintain in the market and compete well with its competitors. Now we go to the last part, which is SWOT analysis. For the last part, which is the SWOT analysis, I focus more on opportunity of each company, where it maybe will probably help each of this company to be more advanced in the market. For an A and E, the company have a high ability to cooperate with the competitors since they have the ability to retain high margins and are indirectly able to support their profits of their business. But for Hong Leong Financial Group, it has a very supply growth that exists to help them increase the customer's base. And the third one is called the bravery Malaysia, which is the opportunities that involved in these companies is a more developed market or emerging markets. National Malaysia Berhad shows the opportunities that the main focus in developing the economy. And the last is Petronas Tegal Berhad, which is Petronas have a lot of alternative options where can help them to be more growth in the market.
I'm Tirumoli Tenarasu, my matrix number 265087. Now I'm going to explain on fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is a method of determining the intrinsic value of a security by examining related economic and financial factors. It is typically performed from a macro and micro perspective in order to identify securities that are not being priced correctly by the market. There are 5 components that related to each of the company, which are total assets, total liability and total equity. The second one is revenue, gross profit, operating income and net income. Then liquidity ratio, profitability ratio and common stock ratio.
As for the AIM Elite Consortium Berhad, their total assets, total liability and total equity has an increased trend from 2019 to 2020. As for the revenue, gross profit, operating income and net income, they have an increased trend, yet they have a negative net income for both years, which shows they are having some losses. The company's financial performance is deteriorating and that it may be unable to pay off its current liability. Based on the profitability ratio, we can conclude that the company has a poor ability to generate income from its equity and sales while having a strong ability to generate assets, which is more unfavorable to investors. Dividend per share is an important metric for investors because the amount of a company pays out in dividend directly translates to shareholders' income. The dividend per share of this company is increasing, rising from 2.93 cent in 2019 to 3 cent in 2020. Next, the Carlsberg Brewery Malaysia Berhad has an increased trend on total asset and total liability but decreased trend on its equity. The revenue, gross profit, operating income and net income of the company have a decreased trend from 2019 to 2020. As for the liquidity ratio, the company's financial performance has improved and it is more liquid, allowing it to easily pay off its current liability. The profitability ratio demonstrates that the company's ability to generate income from its assets, equity and sales is deteriorating, which is unfavorable to investors. This company's earnings per share are considered to be quite low, which is bad for the investors. The company's dividend per share, on the other hand, fell from 100 cents in 2019 to 40 cents in 2020. Next, the Hong Leong Financial Group Berhad demonstrate that they were able to improve their performance by recording an increased trend for total asset, total liability and total equity. There is a decreased trend on revenue, gross profit, operating income and net income of the company from 2019 to 2020. As for the liquidity ratio, it was not available in the annual report of Hong Leong Financial Group Berhad. The company has the ability to generate income from its asset, equity and sales is deteriorating, which is bad for the investors. Earnings per share and dividend per share are both declining. Next, the Nestle Malaysia Berhad has an increased trend on the total asset and total liability, but a decreased trend on the total equity from 2019 to 2020. As for the revenue, gross profit, operating income and net income, the company has a decreased trend and they have a net loss. The liquidity ratio demonstrated that the company is able to pay their debts on the time. The company has an ability to generate income from its assets, equity and sales is declining, which is unfavorable to the investors. Both earnings per share and the dividend per share has a decreased trend. Next, the Petronas Dagangan Berhad has a decreased trend on total asset and total liability, but has an increased trend on total equity. There is a decreased trend on revenue, gross profit, operating income and net income of the company. The company's current ratio is increasing, indicating that it is making good use of its current asset or short-term financing facility. As for the profitability ratio, the company has a decreasing ability to generate its income from its assets, equity and sales, which is unfavorable to the investors. In the years of 2019 to 2020, both common stock ratio shows a downward trend. That's all from me.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nuranisha binti Muhammad Zaidi. My metric number is 273178. So today I'm going to present about technical analysis. As we know, technical analysis is a trading discipline which have been used to evaluate investment and identify trading opportunities in price trend and pattern, which we can see on the chart. So there are 4 types of technical analysis. For the first one, it is a moving average convergence divergence, which is MACD. It means a trend following momentum indicator that show the relationship between two moving average of a security price. Usually, trader use the MACD to identify when the bullish or bearish momentum is high. It is in order to identify entry and exit point for traders. The second one is relative strength index (RSI). RSI provide technical trader with signal about bullish or bearish price momentum, and it is often put beneath the graph of an asset's price. It is usually considered overbought when the RSI is above 70%, and it will be considered as oversold when it is below 30%. The third one is a moving average or MA. It is a stock indicator that is commonly used in technical analysis. And the last one is support and resistance. It is to the meaning of support and resistance is to identify price point on a chart where the probabilities favor a pause or reversal of prevailing trend. Next, I'm going to explain about the graph. As you can see in the slide, there are three types of graph indicator. The first one is MA, second one is MACD, and the last one is RSI. In MA, we can see two things. The first one is the moving average, and the second one is support and resistance. For the MA, for the moving average, we can see in the blue line. If the blue line goes down, that means the trend is down. If the blue line is going up, so that means the trend is up. For the support and resistance, we can see it through the dot line. In the graph, it shows that the dot line is at 18.74. That means the price cannot be below the 18.74%. The second one is MACD. In the graph, it shows that there are two colors of graph. The red color is called as signal line. The blue color is called as MACD line. So, if the MACD is above the signal line, that means the security will be sell. But if the MACD line is below the signal line, then it means the security will be short. The last one is RSI. RSI is indicated in the dotted line. During the 2020 until 2020, if the line is getting below the 30%, that means it is considered as oversold.
Okay, lastly we go for the conclusion. Eventually, we need to purchase and sell shares from Bursa Malaysia as a result of the project. Before making an investment, my organisation must do economy, international, fundamental and technical analysis. Investors can identify and select stocks that have the potential to rise in value based on company fundamentals. The net advantage is that the investor has additional options for conducting research period to making a trade. Investors also utilize 4 methods or 4 strategies in technical analysis, which is moving average convergence differential MACD, relative strength index, moving average, and support and resistance. In a nutshell, a number of factors may influence the price for the stock. We can handle the information of the stock price index using technical analysis, which will greatly assist in making a decision. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.